So, greetings, family. I hope you are doing well on this Thursday morning. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is June Allen, and I am a trauma therapist. I'm a business coach. I'm also a retreat facilitator, and I'm the founder of the Art of Greatness at juneallen.net. So, I'm really passionate about helping Black women experience unapologetic self love, and I help them do this by exploring the relationship with self, the relationship to the mother wound, and systems of oppression. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about how to stay hopeful when things are hard. So, on when was it? Tuesday, I did a live stream. I did the first part of this live stream where I talked about 5 different ways that you can continue to feel hopeful, where you can nurture hope when things get hard. So today I'm here to tell you about the other 5 things that you can do if you're feeling a bit despondent, if you're feeling a bit fed up, if you're feeling a bit, if you go on the news and stuff like that at the moment, it's quite depressing. It's very depressing. And you can find yourself in a loop of feeling quite shut down and kind of not really knowing how to move forward in your life, because there's all of these things that are just making things feel impossible. Hi, thanks for joining. So today I want to give you the other 5 pieces of the puzzle to help you to help you feel more hopeful. But before I do that, I just want to share some housekeeping. So on Saturday, I have a workshop. Okay, it's a half-day retreat. It's 2 workshops actually, and it's going to all be all about self-care, sisterhood, racial wellness, and visioning. Okay, so the first workshop, we're going to be looking at your current self-care, what are your needs, is it working for you, is it not working for you, and how you can begin to turn that around by I've got a 3-step simple process that I share with my clients that they could be doing on a daily basis to help them maintain a lot more wholeness and just general well-being by doing this, my 3-step process. So if you're it doesn't matter whether you're new to this. If you're new, this will be something that you can start doing for yourself. If you've been doing this for a long time and you're a seasoned sister doing your self-care, this is an opportunity for you to do a check-in with yourself. What's working, what's not working, because things change. You'll see the seasons that you're in, your needs are going to change as you get older, especially if you're doing this work. So it's a good opportunity to do a check-in with yourself and find out, how you can begin to really, look after yourself in on a daily basis at home. Okay, so that's the first workshop. The second workshop, we're going to be making vision boards. I love doing something a bit creative when I do my half-day retreats, because sometimes this work can be quite hard. You have to kind of dig deep. I like my clients to dig deep so they get the most out of it. So I like to balance that by doing something a little bit creative in the afternoon. So yeah, so we're going to be doing vision boards and stuff like that. So it'll be an opportunity for you to play, to chat, to really think beyond, the present moment. So if you're interested in joining me for the Sacred Sister half-day retreat this Saturday, then you can click the link in my bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. The other piece of housekeeping that I have is that tomorrow evening, because I've also got a monthly membership mastermind that I do. It's kind of like a book study group, but we go way deeper than the book. Okay, so at the moment we're studying the Black Woman Millionaire. So what I'm bringing to the space is, so we might pick some topics that come out of the book, but we also I kind of share my therapeutic perspective, and we talk about financial therapy. That's the bit that I bring to it. So tomorrow's session is more of an open session where people can bring whatever struggles they've got going on, whether it's financially or not. We read out the 12 spiritual laws of abundance, and the group has an opportunity to share. So there's that as well. So if you're interested in joining me for any of those, again, click the link in my bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. Right, so now that the housekeeping's out of the way, let's jump into the content. So today I am talking about, okay, how you can stay hopeful when things get hard, okay? Hi Lydia, thanks for joining. How you can still be hopeful, how you can remain hopeful when things get hard. Okay, so on Tuesday I went through 5 things, and now I'm going to give you another 5. All right, so go back and watch the one I did on Tuesday if you want to catch up on that. So the first one I'm going to share with you today is focus what's in your control. Okay, it's very difficult to be hopeful about anything if you're stuck or trapped in things that you can't control. people that you can't control, systems that you can't control, situations that are beyond what you can do. You're not going to be able to change your situation or feel hopeful if you're focusing on those things. Okay, you can't control other people. Okay, that's it. This is a massive one. You can't control other people's behavior. So if you're in an environment, or you're in a relationship, or you got family members, or you got friends that don't, if these people are negative, or they're not being unkind, or they don't support you, or whatever reason, you need to think about that relationship. You need to think about how you can start to navigate that relationship, if at all, so that you can begin to feel more hopeful. Are there friends that are more optimistic that you're not spending time with? It's really important for you to do that. Focus on what you can control and not what you can't. Okay? When you focus on what you can control, and often the only thing that you can control is your response to those people that you can't control. Okay? Let me say that again. Often the things that you can control, okay, which is your response to the people that you can't control. So if you can't control people, you can't control, how people behave and all the rest of it, but you can control how you respond to them. You can control how you set boundaries with those people, places, or things, okay, that are not allowing you to stay hopeful. Okay, so stop focusing on the things that you can't control, and start focusing on your response to those things, because that's where your power is. Okay, your power is in how you respond, not what the other person does, but what you do in response to that. That's where your power is. All right, so focus on what you can control. The next one, which is number 7, is giving back. Okay, is there a way? Sometimes you can, when you're feeling terrible about your life, sometimes you can regain hope by serving others. What skills do you have that you can share with others? And I'm not talking about that within the context of you're being codependent and you're so stuck in serving others that you abandon yourself. That's something different, and I'm not talking about doing that. Because us as a community can often get stuck in that. We can get stuck in, my self-worth is only wrapped up in what I do for others. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you taking care of yourself, okay, within the context of serving others. Okay, that's very, very different. So, and sometimes when you're around other people and you're encouraging other people and you're sharing your experience and you're mentoring or doing whatever you're doing, sometimes even doing that can actually give you hope about your own life. I know that sometimes if I've had, when I've been in periods of depression, or whatever reason, when I felt like that, sometimes just sharing some encouragement with somebody else, um, yeah, it reframes my thinking. It reframes how I feel about myself, because it's like, you know what? I can do something for somebody else, and maybe I can do something for myself. Maybe I can do something for myself this time, rather than always giving it to other people. Because sometimes what can happen is, the reason why we overgive to others is because we're trying to compensate for people not giving to us. Okay, let me say that again. Sometimes for a lot of us, especially as black women, we can give, 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 because that's what society says. That for us as black women, we're only there to be the mule for everybody else. We overgive and to overcompensate for the fact that people aren't giving to us. We're not being nurtured. We're not being seen. We're not being visible. So we compensate for that by doing the same thing for other people. And then we end up being resentful because we're not being seen and heard. Okay, we end up being martyrs, and that's not helpful. That's not helpful. That's not helpful. Okay, so when you think about serving others, make sure you're giving from your overflow. Okay, and not and not what's actually in the cup. What's in the cup is, the Iyanla Vanzant says, what's in the cup is supposed to be for you. You shouldn't be giving from your cup. You give to others from your overflow. Okay, so if you're feeling deprived, if you're feeling empty or whatever, then you need to really be focusing on how you're going to fill your cup first before you can start giving to others. Okay, so service is great, but only if you're giving from your overflow. All right, so that's number 7. Number 8. Okay, number 8. The eighth way for you to have more hope when things are hard is to reward yourself. Okay, Reward yourself. How do you reward yourself on a daily basis? And I'm not talking about overspending and getting in debt either, buying that thing that you know that you can't really afford. There are so many smaller ways that you can do that, that you can reward yourself without actually sabotaging yourself financially. Simple things like I don't know. I mean, some of the ways that I do it, I make plans in advance. I'll make plans in advance. I will save up for things that if it's something that's going to cost me a bit more money, I will save up for things. I'll start putting a little 10, 20, 50 pound a month away so that I can do that thing. You know, if it's something that I'm on a daily basis, maybe I'll buy myself some flowers. Maybe I'll go and have an Epsom salt bath. You know, maybe I will go and get that new buy that the essential oil that I wanted to try. That I really like the smell of. It might be that I'll treat myself to a certain, there's a really beautiful woman who makes Ethiopian food in Brixton. She's got a stand where she makes a lot of the food herself, and I absolutely adore her food. So whenever I'm going to Brixton, I will treat myself and I will go and buy from her stall, because that for me, that's a form of cultural nourishment. It ticks so many boxes. It's a form of cultural nourishment because I'm tapping into my culture. I'm also I'm also doing what's the word I'm looking for? I'm helping to support another black person who's running their own business. Um, yeah, it's sometimes I'll eat it outside, so it's just nice to be out in nature and eating nice food and whatever. There's so many different ways that you can do this, but think you don't have to. It doesn't have to be extravagant. Okay, when you reward yourself, if you go onto my website actually and go to free.juneallen, actually if you go to heal.juneallen.net, there's a link on there that says free resources. Okay, and if you go on that page where there's free resources, there's a download which gives you 101 simple self-love tools. Okay, you can use that. So if you ain't got a lot of money and you want some simple ideas for you to do on a daily basis, you can download that, and there's loads of different ideas in there that you can use to nurture yourself. Okay, so when we think about rewarding yourself, what you're telling yourself is, I'm worthy. I'm worthy. I deserve to be seen. I deserve to exist on this planet. I deserve to have a voice. And you're listening to that part of yourself. Okay, you're listening to that part of yourself that needs to be seen, that needs to be heard. And that is going to, the better you feel about yourself, the more you're going to nurture hope for the future. You're going to feel a lot more motivated and inspired to do other things and take risks and do things that are going to actually seed hope for the future. Okay, so think about ways that you can actually reward yourself, no matter how small. Write a list. Maybe use the list that I've got in my on my website as inspiration to create your own. Write it out. And so every time you're feeling a little bit down, or you think you need some inspiration or some motivation or whatever, think about, okay, let me have a look at this event. Let me have a look at this. There's some, like yesterday. Let me give you an example. So yesterday, I was thinking about, I haven't really, I really needed to do some self-care and kind of connect with other people and all this sort of stuff. So I was thinking, okay, let me have a look. There was a few events that I'd seen on social media. A couple of people had inboxed me a few things that looked quite interesting. I sat down and I gave myself half an hour, and I actually booked. I booked two or three of these events. Some stuff that I'm going to be doing with my daughter, and some stuff that I'm going to be doing on my own, and some that I'm going to be doing with friends. Because we don't reward ourselves enough. We don't reward ourselves enough. Hi, Amina. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's so important to reward yourself. So important to keep rewarding yourself, because we forget. Sometimes the grind of daily life, the parenting, obviously with the so-called, the cost of living crisis that's happening, and I go like that because there's certain people that are earning a lot of money out of this cost of living crisis, so they're not being poor. So it's the people that are doing the work on the ground that are struggling. With all of that going on, it's even harder for us to feel like we can reward ourselves for things. But that's why it's important to have those small things as well. You know, it might be that you give yourself time as well. Don't always think about it within the physical sense. You don't always have to buy something. It could be something like giving yourself more time. Okay, taking the day off work. Okay, one of the things that I absolutely love to do is I'll block out maybe half a day when my daughter's gone to school. I'll get some snacks in, get my favourite food. Maybe I'll get the food from the sister in Brixton, okay? And you know, I've got an electric blanket in my bed, and I'll watch Netflix, and I will nap, and I will eat. I'll put my phone will be on silent, and I'll do whatever I want to do. I'll do whatever I want to do. And that in that's how that's how one of the reasons that one of the ways that I reward myself. That's one of the ways that I reward myself, because for me, having time to myself, that for me that's valuable. So you need to really understand, you know, what is your love language. Okay, in order for you to reward yourself, you need to understand what is your love language. Is it time? Is it relationships? Is it gifts? Is it things? You know, is it places? Is it experiences? It's so important. I'm glad you're finding this helpful. You know, Amina, it's so important because again, when we think about rewarding ourselves, people get tied up with spending money and all the rest of it, and then people shut down. It's like, well, I haven't got money, so I can't do it. You have to think out of the box. Think out of the box, you know. And sometimes, you know, it can be, for me, it's also as simple as changing bedding. You know, I change my bedding regularly anyway, but it shifts the energy in the bedroom. You know, when I change my bedding, I give my bedroom a bit of a clean up. Maybe put some flowers in there. Maybe burn some incense. You know, all of these things are they're not expensive things. Okay, but when I do those things, it makes me feel seen. It makes me remember that, you know, that I'm not only a therapist, I'm not only a mom, you know, where I serve other people, where I support other people, that I remember that I need to take care of myself. So I'm gonna put my nice bedding on. I'm gonna burn my incense. I'm gonna take the time off work or whatever. I'll take my time off, and I will be in the yeah, just in that space of really nurturing myself and looking after myself. You know, Amin is saying I will email you so we can connect. Listen, we need to chat. I've seen some stuff on your on your page, and we definitely need to chat. So definitely inbox me. You got my number anyway, Amina. We definitely need to connect. But yeah, just really think about, you know, rewarding yourself. And when we do the workshop this Saturday, these are some of the things that we'll be talking about: how we reward ourselves, how we take care of ourselves, how we look after ourselves. Another tool that I will share with you actually, and how you can look after yourself, is something that I did when I first started doing this self-care stuff, you know, years ago, when I started going to therapy and stuff like that. I actually have a separate bank account, okay, that is purely for me to treat myself. And I set up a standing order to put money into that bank account every month, okay? I set up a standing order to put money into that bank account every month. So when I want something, when I want to treat myself, I take the money out of that bank account and I pay for it. Because so often we can get so caught up, as well as black women, we get so caught up in serving everybody else. Society says we're the last, you know, people we're at the bottom of the bottom of the ladder with so many things. So we end up doing it to ourselves. We end up doing it to ourselves. We don't value caring for ourselves. You know, some people think, oh yeah, that's what white women do. White women do that. Black women don't do that. And I'm here to tell you, we need it more than anybody. Okay? Because being black and being a woman, okay, we're getting heat from all sides. Yeah, so we need this more than anybody. Okay? So please remember that you need to reward yourself. And it starts small. But you need to be rewarding yourself. All right? So that's number 8. Number 9 is gratitude. Okay? Is gratitude. So yeah, and this is about just being grateful for what you already have. You know, sometimes, you know, we can complain that we're always looking for the next best thing. We're always looking, and this is where social media can sometimes get quite toxic, because you can look at what other people have, we can look at what other people are doing, and how, we get the show reel of people's lives on social media, so we think that our lives are shit because everybody else is doing, so-called doing well. So it's about being grateful for what you already have, and that's not to bypass your experience or your struggles. Okay, it's about balance. It's about acknowledging, actually, this is really difficult. There's a part of me that feels really difficult, and there's also another part of me that's grateful for what I have. Okay, so it's about exploring both of those things. It's about exploring both of those things and honoring both sides so that you have balance. But gratitude is also important. We can also, with the news and the stuff that's going on in the current climate, and it can be difficult. It can be difficult to stay positive and to be grateful for what we already have, because there's always this thing that we just never have enough. And also think about internalized capitalism as well. Internalized capitalism will make us believe that we should always be wanting more. There's always more that we should have, you know? And you can get on that hamster wheel of thinking that you need to be having more all the time. And it doesn't always have to be like that. Sometimes, simplicity is everything. Sometimes simplicity is everything. I'm going through a bit of a process at the moment where I'm doing a lot of decluttering. I'm doing a lot of, my mantra at the moment is about keeping things really simple. Stop trying to complicate stuff. Stop thinking that I need to consume more information, more of this, more of that. And sometimes we don't. We're just complicating things. And I think it's the external pressures that sometimes make us believe that we need more than we actually have. And actually, the whole idea, and as I'm going through my own process of decluttering and simplifying, it's less stressful. It's less stressful, So really just be mindful of what you're internalizing from other people, from capitalism, that are telling us that we need to have this and you should have that and you should be doing that and you should be earning that amount of money. You need to have that many pairs of shoes, and it's just a way to kind of make you consume more, and you don't need to. You don't need to. So really think about that. Think about the balance of what you have, and just being grateful for what you have. But also, it's okay to dream and want other things, but it doesn't necessarily has to be in the way about consuming things the way that capitalism wants us to consume. Okay, like I was saying before about time. you know Capitalism will make you think that you don't have enough time, you need to be doing more with your time. They want you to grind all the time, all that stuff, and you get on the hamster wheel. And I've done it. But the difference is, because I'm giving myself more time to think and to rest and to meditate and all of that kind of stuff, I can really think about, okay, well, what are my values? Not what's being thrown at me, what other people or the system is telling me that I should be doing. That's not my stuff. Okay, I need to be really, really mindful and think, actually, is this in alignment with my values? Is this in alignment with my values? Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reading, particularly over the last couple of weeks since I got back off a retreat that I was on, about the 7 principles of my art. And I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm really loving it. I'm discussing it with my daughter as well. We're doing meditation and all of that kind of stuff. And it's easier to make decisions about things when you're really clear about what your values are. When you're really clear about what your values are, it's so much easier to make decisions, because you can just say, well, actually, no, it's not in alignment with my values. So, yeah, this whole thing around gratitude and being clear about what works for you can start to feel a lot more hopeful about things, because you've got more clarity around what works for you and what doesn't, and that is really important. So that's number 9. Okay, be grateful for what you already have, but make sure there's balance. Okay, so the last one, the final one, is creating a vision. Having a vision, okay, is one of the biggest ways that you can nurture and seed more hope in your life. A lot of us are stuck in the grind of the daily grind, okay, and there's nothing to look forward to. We're so caught up in the daily grind of having to do stuff, the stress of the daily grind. We're just trying to survive. A lot of us are stuck in survival mode. And that's a painful place to be. That's a painful place to be, and that's going to be a place of suffering, because you're on the grind, you're in survival mode, you're just keeping your head above water and all the rest of it. There's nothing to look forward to. You're just on, and over a longer period of time, that's a recipe for suffering. It's a recipe for depression, and there's nothing to hope for when you feel like that. So just kind of extending what I was saying about before about rewarding yourself, having a vision about where you want to be, what you want to do, how you want to behave, what the relationships that you want, what you want to do in terms of your purpose, in terms of your work, in terms of your home. Having a vision about all of those things is really important. And again, it's not necessarily about the material things, okay? It's about who you want to be, or how you want to show up in the world, what skills you want to learn. All of these types of things are really important, but the focus is all on your well-being. And this is what I'm going to be doing in the workshop on Saturday. The vision board workshop that we're going to be doing in the second workshop is all about giving yourself permission to really focus on your wellness. Okay, really focus on your wellness and your well-being, how you want to feel, how you want your relationships to be. Where do you want to be in terms of maybe you're a parent and you want to improve the relationship with your children. Maybe you want to improve the relationship with the co-parent. Maybe there's family relationships that are not working, that you want to start finding people in your that are connected to you, because again, family relationships are complex. Family relationships are complex, and you may not always get what you need from family. So maybe it's time, as part of your vision, to start thinking about family of choice. Where can I start to build community? Where can I start to really feel seen? Where can I start to build a sisterhood? Where can I start to build friendships, maybe with men? Something that I'm sort of exploring and looking at the moment as well is having more male friends, being around a lot more male energy and stuff like that, and doing more dating and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, your vision is important because you need something to look forward to. And again, it doesn't have to be really big things. One of the things that I will be sharing in the group is, people will put, traditionally people will put, well, I want a big house, I want a car, or I want to earn this much money. And those things are okay. But I think having more short-term goals is also really important. It's about taking baby steps. Sometimes you can put these big things on these vision boards and they just feel so far away that you just disconnect from it. It's hard for you to be connected to it. So I think something that's important is think about a shorter version of it, maybe 3 to 6 months or even a year. Where do you want to be in a year's time? How do you want to feel in a year's time? What relationships do you want to build and nurture in a year's time? That feels more attainable. It's like you can almost taste it. That's important. And then the more you take the baby steps, okay, towards that, it just feels a lot more tangible. It feels more realistic, okay? And it's just a lot easier for you to be able to maintain and achieve those things because they feel a lot closer. I think sometimes we can make things so much bigger. And it's about remembering as well that life happens. We set these goals, for these really big goals for ourselves, and things happen. As human beings, sometimes we change jobs. Maybe we need to move house. Maybe there's stuff going on with the children. Maybe come out of a relationship. Maybe you have bereavements. Things happen in life, which means that are going to impact how we work towards our goals. So it's also about creating a space for you to live your life, to show up. And it's a process. Whenever you set goals for something, okay, you set goals for something, and maybe there's also a part of you that has an identity that you have to step into in order to achieve those goals, even if they're short-term goals. Okay, you have to step into a different identity in order to achieve those goals, which means that there's often withdrawal. There's often a grieving process that happens because the older part, that part of you that wasn't able to be conscious about doing the goals that you want, that part of you, you're gonna have to let that part of you go so that you can step into the part of you that wants to achieve those goals. So there's a grieving process, but people don't always talk about that. People don't always talk about that, and then they wonder why they don't achieve their goals, because they're not being taught, not being held through the therapeutic process that happens, okay, when we need to achieve these goals. There's a grieving process, there's a withdrawal process that happens, you know, because you're stopping old behaviors in order to step into the new ones in order to achieve what you need to achieve. Okay, these are all things that we'll talk about on Saturday in the workshop, okay, in the half-day retreat that I'm going to be doing in Brixton. So if you're interested in joining me for that, click the link in my bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. So that's it for today. Those are the second, that's part 2 of you know, things that you can do in order to stay hopeful when things are hard. So I'll just do a recap. Number 6 is focus on what you can control, okay? Number 7 is give back and serve others, but give from your overflow, not from what's in the cup. Number 8 is reward yourself, okay? Number 9 is be grateful for what you have now. And number 10 is create a vision, okay? Create a vision, whether it's short term or long term, okay? If there's anything that I've spoken about today that you want to talk to me about a bit more, then you can either drop the question in the comments or you can email me info@yardofgreatness.com. Thank you so much for joining me. If you know someone that would enjoy this live, then please share it with them if you found it helpful. All right, have an amazing day, and I will see you next week. Thanks everyone. All right, take care. Bye bye now.